To create a new Google Meet for your class, you'll need to start within a Google app, like Drive, Gmail, or Calendar. Then click on the Google Apps cube, and you'll see the Meet app in here. If you're on a new tab, Meet won't appear in the Apps Launcher. You have to be within one of the Google apps for it to appear here. You can also go to meet.google.com on a new tab to get there quickly. The first time that you go into Meets, you're going to need to authorize your camera and your microphone. If you click the little gear to open the settings, this will start this process off. We can go ahead and click Allow, and Meet will now have access to our camera and our mic. On the settings screen here, we can look and see that our microphone is indeed being picked up, and we can test our sound. I can also double check and make sure that my video feed is coming through. We'll click Done to close this box. Now we're ready to go ahead and launch our first meeting. So we can click here to get started. You're going to want to give your meeting a nickname, and it's best to have your students join using the nickname. This will prevent students from going back to meets that you've had in the past and using them as open chat rooms. Let's call this one Book Discussion. So now I'm into the Meet launch screen. This is the screen that your students will see when they type your meeting code into that same box that we just named our meeting in. You have a chance here to see your video feed. You can also turn your camera off and mute your microphone if you like. We will recommend that students mute their microphone before logging into a Meet with you. You can also change some more settings here by clicking on the three dots and going into Settings. Again, here's the microphone and speaker test. And in the video options, we can now change the resolution of our sending and receiving video. So if you're not sure about your internet bandwidth or you don't want to use too much up, you can change this to standard definition, which is a lower video feed. For your receive, you can change it to standard, as well as only showing one video at a time, which will not load previews of the other attendees in this meet. You can also just go audio, which will show no videos that are coming through, but you'll be able to hear everything that's being said in the meet. So I'm going to leave this like this, and we'll hit Done. When I'm ready to go in, I can hit Join Now. If I'm going to be immediately launching a slides presentation or something I want my students to see, I could go directly into present mode from here as well. If there was anybody else in the meeting, I would see them right here. So once we click Join, we're now in the live meet. The meeting nickname has popped up here. Again, this is how you're going to want your students to join your meet. They're going to go to meet.google.com and punch in this nickname that you've given it. This is something that is only within our domain, so students will only be able to access your meetings. They won't be able to access meetings accidentally created by somebody else or anything. This is just for our domain. There's also information here where you can send a link out, but be warned, if you send the link to students, they can have access to this link further down the line, and this meet room could be used for chats between students that you're not aware of. I've gone ahead and joined the meeting from another testing account so that there is a student in this meeting now to show you a couple of things about managing. So as you can see, it looks like Mary is doing some talking here. It's picking my voice up through her microphone as well. And this is something that you could run into if students don't remember to mute their microphone and you find that you've got sounds coming through interfering with your meet. You can click on a student and mute them right here in the side panel. Now be warned, if you do this, you cannot unmute the student. They can only unmute themselves. So if they need to talk to you, you might need to tell them to unmute themselves. From here, I could also remove this student if they're not supposed to be here, or I could pin her so that I'm only seeing her face here in this sort of main video window. I can also open up chat on the side. This is a place where I can send messages out, or students can send messages back. Note though that you will only see chat conversation that has happened since you joined a Meet. So if students are late joining, they will not see things that were posted in the chat prior to them being there. You can toggle back and forth between the people and the chat here. If you can't find your buttons out in this main area, you just need to click on your main video screen here to get those buttons to pop up. And here's where you can mute your microphone and turn your camera on and off. Now, because it's just me and Mary in this video call, Google assumes that I want to see Mary's face and Mary wants to see my face. So we're seeing this profile image because Mary has her camera off, but on Mary's screen next to me, she's actually looking at my face talking into my camera. Something cool they've added to Google Meets in the last few months is the ability to turn on closed captioning. Clicking this button will just make the captions start to appear at the bottom like that, and it's now writing out everything I'm saying. If I turn them on, this does not turn them on for my students. You would have to instruct your students to turn those on. You can just toggle it back off like this. If I want to show students my screen or something that I want to pull up on my screen, you can click down here and click on Present Now. Choose your entire screen. If you have multiple monitors hooked up, it will find them. You can pick. If you only have one, it will show here. You'll still need to click on it. Make sure it's highlighted in blue. Then the share button will light up. We can click share. We get this nice little banner at the bottom reminding us that we're now sharing our screen. We get this presenting piece here. Mary is seeing this exact screen. If I go out to a new Google tab and start finding something else to do, she will see that also. So that's how you can share something for your students to look at, and actually they could share back as well because everybody in the Meet has these options. One note, your students cannot mute or remove you from a Meet that you are hosting. So that's something new that Google has added as a feature, and that's fantastic. The students cannot kick you out. When you're done presenting, you can just click Stop Presenting, and then we'll go back to the camera mode. If there was a bunch of us in this meeting and we were all taking turns talking, this image here would rotate through to whoever's voice was being picked up. So that's just so you know how that will run if there's multiple people talking in a Meet. Down here we have our joining information if we need it. Settings here where we can change the video if needed. They have a couple of different layout options if you want to look at things differently. This one would bring up tiles of multiple people if I had multiple people in here, but I only have the one. Every time you can't find buttons, it just takes a click to make them appear again. When I'm all finished my Meet, I can end it by just closing out the tab or hanging up with the little phone button at the bottom. They always ask you to give Meet a review. If you don't go very good, it actually asks you for some more details about your review. And once you're finished with that, it takes you back to this Meet main screen. That's it for Google Meets. Hope you have a great day.